Well, I recently had a bit of a meltdown, so I wanted to talk to you about it. Please stick around. Hi friends, my name is Claire and this is my channel, Woodshed Theory. Here, I make content about what it is like to live as an adult on the autism spectrum and whatever else feels good to me. So if that sounds good to you, or if you're feeling particularly gracious today, and I hope that you are, please go ahead and click the subscribe button, ring the bell. I almost forgot to mention that I put out videos three times a week. Click the like. Thank you for interacting with my videos. It really helps a lot. Hey everybody, how are you? So yeah, as I mentioned, I had a bit of a meltdown this week. I'm actually recording the beginning of this video a second time because I felt like I was being too open. And if you are a person on the spectrum and meltdowns are a part of your life, you know that they can be embarrassing. Yeah, they are embarrassing. When I was a child, I had a lot of meltdowns. Ask my mom. As an adult and as a diagnosed adult, a medicated adult, a self-aware adult, I have a lot less meltdowns. I have made videos before about how I keep calm and navigate my life, or things I do to navigate my life, but meltdowns gonna melt. Meltdowns are gonna happen sometimes if you're on the spectrum. Eventually, the sensory overload, the emotional toll will be too much and the dam will break. And that's what happened with me this week. I am feeling a little bit better today, but I just wanted to talk to you about what I do to kind of recover and maybe give you some resources that you can use to help you when you feel a meltdown coming on, or you're trying to recover from one and get back to your life. Because yeah, if you let yourself get caught up, that's not fair to say. If you get caught up in meltdown mode for an elongated period of time, it can be really difficult to shift out of that mode with any efficiency. And you may get caught up in it, and it may ruin your day, your week, your month. I'm feeling a lot better now. Still a little bit in recovery mode, but I wanted to talk to you, and yeah, here I am. I'm showing up 3 times a week, even when it's hard. So I appreciate you. So the reason I'm wearing my shower towel is because one of the first things I would recommend after having a meltdown is to take a shower, hot bath, cold shower, cold bath, whatever you find most comforting. I know a lot of people on the spectrum struggle to take showers or baths. I just also know that I feel a lot better after I have just cleansed myself, stood in hot water for a while. It kind of just takes the tension out of one's body and can help you reset. Also, normally you're alone in the shower, and solitude is a huge part of recovering from a meltdown. The second thing, as I mentioned, is time alone. Time alone is a very important part of being autistic, as you may know. It can be a toll to spend time with anybody, even loved ones, when you're on the spectrum. It's really, especially in the midst of or after a meltdown, you might just need some alone time. What does that look like? Alone time in the shower. Okay. Asking your spouse to watch after the kids for a while. Spending some time napping alone in a bedroom. Maybe you have I don't know, if you're a mom, you might have a solitude closet somewhere, something like that. Some people, it's going out, going shopping, driving around, being alone in public. works for them as well. But really, it's just a matter of finding some time to process everything that you just went through, all of the emotions that came up, all of the sensory issues that came up by yourself. That's really important. This is also good for parents of autistic kids to understand, because a lot of times parents want to fix it right away, and what they really need to do is just give their child some space. Speaking of alone time, during this alone time, I find that sensory deprivation really helps me. So if I'm in a room by myself, I might turn off all the lights, close the blinds, shut fans off if it's manageable in the summer, shut off anything that makes noise, just getting the room as quiet and as dark as possible, getting myself wrapped in blankets. I want to just be a cocooned organism in a dark, quiet place. Why? Great question. This is because your brain, your body just needs some time to catch up. It doesn't need any more input. It already had too much input, and that's why you melted down. So you're going to want to get some time to shut off all of the inputs so that you can process what's already there. What's interesting, I think, is maybe people think that this is a relaxing time. It's not necessarily a relaxing time. We're still processing input that happened hours ago, or during the meltdown, or after the meltdown. So it's not like it's necessarily quiet. Eventually, once we get it all out, yes. But even if I look like I'm past my meltdown, or I am recovering in the quiet, doesn't mean it's quiet in my head. It doesn't mean I feel quiet inside. Another thing that I do, try to do breathing exercises, deep breathing, breathing counts. There are some meditation apps that you can get for free to work on this, but I just like to really focus on my breathing, put all of my attention on it, and in that way get my mind off of other things that are happening. Focusing on getting oxygen into my body and letting my body heal from what happened is really important. So I highly suggest breathing exercises. Another thing is surrounding myself with things that comfort me. For example, like I love the sensory feeling of holding my stuffed alpaca and feeling its fur. That's something that really helps me. So if you have stuffed animals or weighted blankets or things that help you in a sensory manner, that is also a great way to start healing your bodily shock from a meltdown. Another thing that you could do is to indulge in a special interest while you're spending the time alone. That might be watching videos about topics that interest you, maybe doing some yarn crafts, crochet, painting, drawing, writing out your feelings. As long as you're really trying to keep it as innocuous, as vanilla as possible. You're not necessarily trying to stimulate your nervous system. You're just trying to take a deep breath and focus on something that relaxes you and interests you. So that can be very helpful as well. So those are just a few of the things that I do when I am trying to recover quickly from a meltdown or save off a meltdown. As I've mentioned in the past, it's so important to figure out your meltdown markers so that you can get to the point where you're like, you know what, I need a break before it happens. But that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you're going to have a meltdown. These things happen. It happened to me this week. I'm still getting over it, so I apologize if I'm a little different than I usually am. But yeah, it's just part of life if you're an autistic person. Does it get better as you get older? I think so, as you work on yourself. But that doesn't mean that they're never going to happen again. And it sucks. The other thing I wanted to mention is even though we as autistic people can't control our meltdowns. We can't stop it from happening necessarily once it starts, to some extent. So I am a believer that we're still responsible for our behavior. So I always make sure to apologize to anybody that may have been affected. I think it's really important. It's okay to explain that you feel embarrassed, that you weren't trying to hurt anybody's feelings, that these things happen sometimes as an autistic person. But I think it's important to address it with anyone who might have been affected if you feel like that's necessary. It's necessary for me to kind of be able to move on from the situation. Before I head out today, I wanted to tell you that my friend Taylor over at Mom on the Spectrum, she has a great resource for surviving meltdowns. Her website is called momonthespectrum.net. She has an 11-page PDF booklet for sale that goes through all of her research and steps on how to navigate through a meltdown. She also has a free autism emergency card that you may be able to present to other people if you are having a meltdown in public to help them understand what's going on. So it's a really helpful resource. So I will go ahead and link all of that information down below. I encourage you to check it out. Not an easy topic for me to talk about today. And I think maybe that is evidenced by my lack of eye contact, my stumbling through my words. So thank you for sticking with me. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below, and I will see you next time. Have a good weekend. Bye.